Well, it's such an honor to be here, and good afternoon. I'm Keitaro Sakamoto, and I work at Morisawa, a font foundry in Japan. I myself is not a designer, but I work with designers to produce new fonts, and I feel I'm in very exciting environment. Today, I would like to give my presentation on the behalf of the team. Well, I put the title on this presentation as God in the Details, just in case. I'm not indicating any specific God, and I'm not intending to have a religious discussion today. As each of you have various cultural background, we Japanese have a unique way of thinking. There's this word, yaoyorozu, in Japanese. It means spirit lives in everything. Spirit lives in the mountains, in the ocean, and maybe even my clothes. And we think that each spirit interacts each other in a good way and sometimes in a bad way. And we consider in this way not only for objects, but also for events. When we find a remarkable work, we often express, your spirit is in it. This way of thinking is applied to type design as well. This is obvious, but detailed work leads to improved quality. If there is a moment that spirit lives in each process, then how the spirit was expressed in the works. Today, I'd like to give a talk about such spirit of type design. I'm not sure whether spirit has certain age or not, but if yes, the spirit of our design is over 90 years old now. Morisawa released the very first typeface in 1929 to the market. At that time, about 5,000 characters were equipped on the letterboard of the phototypesetting machine. Well, have you ever heard of the phototypesetting machine? The phototypesetting machine uses the technology of a camera to input a letter. Unlike monotype nor linotype, which uses metal types, this phototypesetting machine flashes light on the glass letterboard and prints the letter on paper. The camera is not a digital camera, of course. It's an analog camera. We had metal typeface in Japan as well, but Japanese language has thousands of letters, so the printing industry preferred the phototypesetting machine in Japan. There was another reason that the machine was adopted widely. Japanese letters are not proportional. Japanese letters are non-proportional, or you would say monospaced. And we design each letter in the same size, and it's suited to mechanical processes. This is a letterboard. So before fonts were provided in a compact disk or a floppy disk, the letter itself was used. Then how people type the letter? First, set a board. Second, focus on with the camera in the center. Then release the shutter. The picture I'm currently showing is the very early machine. Every process was analog. It does not have a monitor to check the letter you print, so you can only imagine if the words are properly printed. Eventually, this process was automated or digitalized, but still the glass board remained. Now, do you have any idea how the letterboard was made? The process is place a letterboard size of hand-drawn sketch, take a photo, reflect the image, and print out chemically. So the letterboard on the phototypesetting machine is also made by photo. Have you ever developed a picture on your own? Specialists worked on this very sensitive and delicate process. This is not a type design, but a spirit lived in this process as well. The size of the letter on the letterboard is 4.16 millimeters. The original letter was drawn on a specific sheet, a 62.5 millimeter square grid sheet. Designers sketched one letter on one sheet. And here is a question: why the size of the drawing paper was 62.5 millimeters square? This comes from the letter size on the letterboard on the phototypesetting machine. The letter size of the letterboard is 4.16 millimeters. The early Morisawa original drawing paper enlarged it 5 times by 20.8 millimeters. Also, this magnification was a precision limit for pre-press lens in the 1930s. By 1950s, the accuracy improved and the sheet size was enlarged 10 times by 41.6 millimeters. To increase the accuracy, the original drawing paper was enlarged 1.5 times by 62.5 millimeters. This number was equivalent to the maximum size that the phototypesetting machine for title printing could print, and the size was familiar to designers. The reason that the scaling is a nice round number is that at that time, the printmaking machine was analog, and it was impossible to reproduce the printmaking magnification if the number is not a nice round number, such as 5 times, 10 times, or 15 times. Actually, the drawing paper was designed by a type designer, and he has obsessiveness with the frame border space. The line inside of the frame is 2 millimeters, as too many lines would disturb drawing by a pencil. At the time, designers filled the inside of the letter with ink after sketching a letter, and the slight embossment of printing part for inking was a problem. Thus, less lines to maximum extent was better. Many typefaces were produced with this drawing paper. Mr. Ichikawa and Mr. Oda are typeface designers, and they have been dedicated to type designs for several decades. Hideki Ichikawa joined Morisawa in 1970. He wanted to be a type designer. However, at that time, the company needed more people to make letterboards. So he started working to examine glass boards. The center on this slide is Ichikawa. He looked into the magnified mirror to examine day after day. When a chief designer retired, it was a turning point for him and became a designer. He had only one chance for the test to be a designer. Since then, he has been worked on almost all kana characters, numerals, and symbols of Japanese typefaces that Morisawa produced. 7 years after Ichikawa joined Morisawa, Hideyuki Oda joined in 1977. He worked as an assistant to examine letters for 3 years, then joined the design team. He has been worked on designing kanji for several decades. This process is crucial to produce Japanese typefaces. Ichikawa and Oda are involved in our typefaces in various ways. Sometimes they design the basis of the typefaces, sometimes expanded glyphs and supported to finish a font. Both men know everything about Japanese typeface design, of course before the era of digital fonts. Then, how they designed typefaces when the phototypesetting machine was widely used and the world was totally analog, far away from PC. Oda showed us the way he designed at the time. These tools are essential to design typefaces. A few thin brushes, a mechanical pencil, a drawing pen. He uses a cutter knife for the maintenance of the drawing pen, and a light table. On the table, there are 6 different rulers. There are about 20 tools in total. Thousands of typefaces were produced with them. What he's going to draw is this kanji letter, A. This is a fundamental design of kanji. This character covers 8 elements which are necessary to design kanji. And this kanji means eternity. Everything starts from eternity. Maybe the spirit of typeface likes to play a word game, such like that. First, he draws a rough sketch. He draws a skeleton very smoothly. Let's see how he draws. It took only 1 minute. In case you are not aware, but this is not sans serif. He's drawing Mincho Tai, which is serif. Then put another paper on the skeleton sketch. So he used the light table to finish the sketch. And at this point, as you can see, the serifs are added. It took only 3 minutes to finish the rough design. To brush up, he used drawing tools and decide the design. Not every Japanese typeface designer draws in this way, but for Oda, this is a familiar way. Within 10 minutes, eternity is finished. And this is the half of the process. Now he fills counter and the inside. And before that, he grinds an ink cake and sharpens his concentration. Oda says that it was his morning routine at that time. He adds ink as required and continues. Let's take a look for a while to complete the character A. then he took white. So to make a perfect line, the spirit of the typeface allows any approaches. That makes the very last adjustment and finished. Please look his smile. We can imagine the perfection level. The team repeats this process over and over, then completed hundreds, thousands of letters, and expanded required letters. This is a specimen book of that time. These designs are still strikingly magnificent. Well, there are some discoveries. This typeface called Realme is still popular as a digital font. Let me compare the same letter for both the phototypesetting machine typeface and the digital font. The phototypesetting machine typeface has a slight roundness where straight lines cross. In the production of digital fonts, we have new technique and we can combine components. To create more than 20,000 kanji, straight lines are straightly crossed in order to maintain the same treatment for same shape. However, in the analog process, designers added slight roundness to design the letter. We can find trace of the way at that time in Oda's sketch. His attitude to pursue the perfection of a letter remains the same. But he tried to complete in every detail of a letter, which ultimately made in just 4 millimeters size. There is another reason for the roundness. When the whole process from entering the characters to printing was analog, it went through many optical processes. These processes would round sharp edges, which was inevitable. It would be easier for you to understand if you imagine ink traps of metal typefaces. I know an interesting episode about the roundness of crossed lines. Some digital fonts designed the round part purposely. For example, this A1 Mincho, in the days of phototypesetting machine, designers did not design on purpose, but many people liked it. And then when Mincho was digitalized to have the round. So this font, this typeface is popular for many years and even loved by contemporary designers who do not know about the phototypesetting machine. Maybe people feel the trace of human hands. The analog age spirit is floating in a different form in the digital age. Today, Oda and Ichikawa are fostering young designers. Ichikawa learned the latest typeface design software. Oda says no one can finish a rough sketch faster than him. Maybe because when they joined the company, the training program was not fully established and they had to learn by themselves. Now they are trying to hand over all techniques and knowledge they have. The design method changes as time goes by, but they know the spirit of the design inherited throughout the ages. Recently, we sometimes create typefaces based on various visual condition researches and user's voice. Typefaces are essential for visual communication, so we hear user's voice and try to make user-first typefaces. Now, typefaces produced in that way are installed on Windows OS as the standard fonts of Japanese and used by many people who are not designers. The spirit of designers lives in any people, even they are not designers. It is not only for Japanese typeface designs. Last year, Cyrus Highsmith, as you know, an experienced typeface designer, joined our Latin font production team. He collaborated with Japanese designers. Japanese and Latin fonts design techniques may have little in common, but we feel that we share something in the beauty of shapes. In this multicultural environment that beyond generations and borders, New designs are about to come into the world. I would like to finish my presentation with the current sketch video. A designer from my generation, who took lessons from Oda and Ichikawa, creates a letter. He does not use any brushes or ink cakes, but he has passion to create beautiful letters. Please note that what I'm going to show is one of typical examples. We are taking many different ways for Japanese development and using many kinds of software, depends on the project. Anyway, try your best of the times you live in. The spirit of type design will be inherited forever. May the spirit of the typeface bless you. Thank you.